While we wait for our contestants to return from the breakout room, we'd like to just, anyone have any questions or would like to discuss our theme, facing your fears? Each and every one of us are Toastmasters, and I'm guessing at least all of us, or probably just one who didn't join because of facing their fears. Anyone now? Do I have to? The grandma have to get her spoon? Do I have to get my spoon? Get up! Don't let me get you something to read. I can't hear you. Anyone? Remember, my theme is your grandmother. I'm calling on you. Shala, oh, do you have something you can tell us about facing fears?
Yes, I can say something about facing fears. Sometimes the fear of confrontation, be it a person, be it our own imagination, what's in our mind, or facing that thing that you know you need to do, even if it's procrastination, sometimes I can get agog with thinking, oh my goodness, how am I going to get this done? Is it possible? And I do have to remind myself certain times of who I am. I like to think about Yvette, how she brings all things to God and who made me. And then I remind myself, God's on my side. So no matter if I'm facing something that's in my mind on something that I thought I couldn't do, I can do it. And I had to face a fear of getting something in the back of the closet that I needed desperately. My closets are super tall. I'm 5'2". I am the tallest person in my family, but I'm shorter in my closet. God gave me such a wonderful idea. I got a long box, and then this stand that I have, I was able to hook it, push it down, slide it down to me, and get it there. And I was just saying to myself, God, I'm all alone. I don't have anyone. What am I going to do? That was a real fear. And God showed me, Charlotte, I'm always with you. So facing that fear of the unknown, a person, a bully, my thoughts, I just have to sit back and know God is always with me. Thank you for asking me, Camille.
Thank you. Amen and amen. I feel like I was just part of a service, and that I am always happy to receive. Shall I could always depend on calling on you to brighten our day. So next we will move on to the grand finale, and our first contestant to return from the breakout room would be Xenia Shep. I believe Avi or one of the co-hosts will be bringing her forward in a minute.
First participant is coming up.
Yes.
Okay, Xenia, hi. Before we start, I'd like to just set the table here. Our table topics, our grand finale is themed, Is the White House Haunted? We will now begin the table topics grand finale. The contest will consist of the same question being asked to each contestant. Each contestant will have 1 to 2 minutes to deliver an impromptu speech based on a question I will ask. Okay. Xenia, did you know the most famous address in America, 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, is also perhaps the country's most famous haunted house? For centuries, dreams have been used to communicate direction and instruction to people of purpose. Your question, Ms. Ship, if you encountered the tortured spirit of President Abraham Lincoln in a dream, what 2 pieces of wisdom would he communicate to you before he could rest in eternity? The question again, if you encountered the tortured spirit of President Abraham Lincoln in a dream, what two pieces of wisdom would he communicate to you before he could rest in eternity?
It seemed like a nightmare, but it wasn't. It was President Abraham Lincoln telling me that I needed to do something about our current state of affairs that we live in today. He knew that there were two things that needed to happen before he could rest in peace. One was to ensure that all people are treated equal, Black, white, pink, yellow, any person, because he had fought the Civil War to ensure that slaves would be released, that they would be free. The next thing was that he wouldn't be killed, that he would be able to live on and ensure that this country would become what he envisioned. Those were two things that he wanted me to ensure happen. Was I going to be able to do these things at this haunted house on Pennsylvania Avenue? I don't know. There are some people out there who believe that our current state of affairs is exactly what we need, but I beg to differ. I am agog. I am mortified that some people believe that this state of affairs is normal. And when I shared that with President Abraham Lincoln, he agreed with me. He knew that I would take charge and I would ensure that these things would change, that life would become a better place because he would survive. He had a vision, he had a mission, and he was going to ensure that that war was fought. So he give you the power to go ahead and make sure that these two things will ensure that this country will become what I envision. Madam Table Topic.
Thank you, Xenia. We'll wait for the next contestant to come out from the breakout room.
Next contestant is in Dorothy.
Dorothy. Okay.
There was a little glitch in there because I was asked to leave the breakout room, and so I heard the end of whatever Xenia was saying. I don't know if that's going to help any, but I was pulled out early.
Don't worry about it.
Placed on hold. Okay.
Okay, Dorothy. Did you know, Dorothy, the most famous address in America is 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, is also perhaps the country's most famous haunted house. For centuries, dreams have been used to communicate direction and instruction to people of purpose. Dorothy, your question is, if you encountered the tortured spirit of President Abraham Lincoln in a dream, what two pieces of wisdom would he communicate to you before he could rest in eternity? Again, the question is, if you encountered the tortured spirit of President Abraham Lincoln in a dream, what two pieces of wisdom would he communicate to you before he could rest in eternity?
Thank you for that question. Of course, I would be agog that he actually chose me to share some wisdom with, because from time to time, I really wonder about having common sense. However, I know that he had a very difficult time, and he lived in a very difficult time, had to make some very difficult decisions during that time. I believe that one of the first things that he would share with me is accept yourself. Abraham Lincoln was a tall, gangly looking person, not very attractive. However, he didn't allow this to cause him not to have self-confidence about himself. Many times I have struggled with my looks, with my body build. That didn't hold him back. That would be the first thing. Accept yourself as yourself. The next thing that I believe that he would share with me during my restless night would be, if it's something that you really want, stretch out and try for it and keep pushing. Because I know that he didn't know how to read. Someone taught him. He didn't know what to do as far as running for office, how to lead a country during such a difficult period of time. He stepped out and he tried it and he did it. There were people who didn't like him because of the decision that he made, allow the slaves to go free. We still have some type of bondage that we're carrying around with us. And I believe that he would tell me, in order for me to share with you today, be who you are and be proud of that. Let go of the bondage and the things that will hold you back and keep you from being successful. Back to you, Madam Table Talks Master.
Thank you, Dorothy. I see our next contestant is already in the room. Hopefully, Yolanda, you can hear everything.
No, third person is not in yet. She is coming in. Kiana.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I got it backwards. Thank you for the correction, Avi. Okay. There you are, Kiana.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to set it up for you, and then I'll ask you a question.
Okay.
Did you know the most famous address in America, 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, is also perhaps the country's most famous haunted house? For centuries, dreams have been used to communicate direction and instruction to people of purpose. Your question, Kiana, if you encountered the tortured spirit of President Abraham Lincoln in a dream, what two pieces of wisdom would he communicate to you before he could rest in eternity? The question again, if you encountered the tortured spirit of President Abraham Lincoln in a dream, what two pieces of wisdom would he communicate to you before he could rest in eternity?
Thank you. The two pieces of information that President Lincoln would have communicated to me before he could rest was in God we trust is one, and life is short, number two. So in God we trust. So at the end of the day, what President Abraham Lincoln meant by "in God we trust" is that the life and our journey is very short. And the events that's going on today, the past events, the present events, and the outlook on the future, all of those things will come to pass. These are temporary moments within our journey, but it is definitely not the end all, be all. Don't get too fixated on the events today, too stressed, too worried. All of this will come to pass. These are just obstacles and stepping stones and things just to bring us together in our souls and spirit while we're here on earth. We cannot take any of it with us. So with life being short, keep God first, keep your family second, and just enjoy all of the beauty and soak it in, the good and the bad. And so before President Lincoln could rest, he would want me to know that this is just a temporary passing, and we just use these as moments to build, grow, and love with one another as we enter into our next journey of life. So this is not the end all, be all. Life is short. Soak it up and enjoy it in good company of friends and family. Thank you.
Thank you, Kiana. Thank you. This concludes our table topics finale. I'd like to ask for the timer to give us 1 minute on the clock, and then I'll hand it over to our Toastmaster for the day, Camille Morales.